So welcome back to Faith from Friday. For this case, we are going to South Dakota. As far as I know, I've not touched the case. I've not covered the state of South Dakota yet. I definitely hadn't thought that I would have to for at least for a good minute, but this case just was too controversial to not talk about, I guess. And considering that our killer is out on the streets, that they know who the killer is, but she's confessed to it, but she's out on the streets. I definitely had to cover this case. I highly doubt anybody knows anybody involved. If you do, definitely let me know. If you lived in the area, if you're like neighbors, if you even live in the state of South Dakota and you know of this case, because apparently it's well known up there, definitely let me know. Sources down below as always. I'm gonna quit my rambling and let's go and get started. So start off with Debra. Debra apparently was born in 1957. She apparently would go to college and get an associate's degree. Now, what college and what she got the associate's degree in, it didn't specify, but I guess they was like, we don't care about that. We care about what happened later on. So then she wants to be having a son. I guess she wants to get married and wants to have a son named Stewart. And apparently Stewart was born July 27th, 1982. She then goes on to have a daughter named Abby Lynn, who she was born November 1st, 1983. So these kids were pretty much born back to back. And Abby, because I guess they thought it was important to mention this, apparently was allergic to milk, even though this doesn't come up later. But I just thought that was interesting. The fatal day of April 5th, 1987 is not exactly... We don't exactly have confirmed what happened, but what is believed to have happened is while, 3-year-old Abby Lynn is asleep, apparently Debra comes in the room and has a toy airplane and a knife and stabs her like 70 times. So as you can imagine, it obviously kills her. And then the blood that's on the side of the mattress, because obviously you just stab somebody 70 times, so there's going to be hella blood. That side of the mattress is then turned over. Her husband, he walks in and sees Abby's body. He screams for her, understandably, because, you know, what happened. Debra is the one who calls 911, and then she apparently calls their family doctor, a pastor, and her parents. She would claim that she came in and checked on Abby at midnight, so whoever stabbed her had to do it after I checked on her at midnight. And then apparently the pastor is apparently at the house while Debra, Abby, and her husband Lynn are at the hospital. The pastor apparently changes the sheets that Abby was stabbed, like the bed that Abby was stabbed on, and he claimed that he had good intentions. He wasn't trying to dispose of evidence, because obviously that's what it technically is. You're discarding evidence over here. But he would claim that, look, they're in a stressful situation. I just want them to come home to a clean house. And the police are like, leave the stuff in the house alone because you messing with the evidence right now. If there is some random person that came in and just stabbed only the 3-year-old, nobody else. Okay, you're messing with evidence. And then they go to the hospital, check on Abby, who I guess apparently was like still alive at this point, and come back. The sheets are changed again. So now everybody gotta leave because again, I already told you, you're doing too much. You technically could get charged, so go ahead and make everybody leave before we charge you with something. And then apparently, I don't know if they meant like the original sheets, but one of the sheets apparently would get found in Debra's dad's car. So then after Debra and her husband Lynn apparently leave the hospital, they go to her dad's house, and apparently there's a friend of theirs that's over there, and apparently Debra is like washing her hands like multiple times, and she keeps complaining that I can't get the smell off my hands. And they apparently would later use that against her. So then Debra and Lynn were brought in for questioning. Debra basically said that, look, I checked in on Abby like right before Lynn found her, and she couldn't sit. She claimed I can't remember if I had the doors locked or not. Blood and hair samples were taken. Apparently she submitted in her class ring for whatever reason, and then she claimed like three times just randomly, like I don't think she was asked. Apparently she just randomly mentioned like, yeah, it hadn't been scrubbed. So that's suspicious in itself. And then apparently Lynn would turn in like other jewelry that they had. So then she apparently takes a polygraph and fails. Apparently she would admit to beating Abby with a wooden spoon so hard that it broke. When asked if it was possible that she may have been the one to have killed Abby, she didn't remember. And apparently she would just ask to be put under hypnosis because I may have psyched out when I did it. So let's see if I get a confession out of me with this hypnosis. And so a detective, it doesn't say the name, but apparently a detective that worked on the case would later say that Debra had apparently talked about the murder through Abby's perspective, and that a man had to have done it, but he took the knife with him, which is why y'all can't find the murder weapon. And then apparently around the end part of the interview, apparently Debra apparently is repeatedly saying, I did it. So then a counselor and a psychologist would basically come in to examine her. So then Debra apparently called some of her friends and was like, look, I'm okay with going to an institution and not jail, because I guess she thought she was going to like not go to jail for murdering her 3-year-old daughter, and that she was in a battle with God and Satan, and that Abby's murder was the work of Satan, and basically she was telling her friends, look, when they call you to testify, this is how you should testify. So then at trial, Debra basically said that, look, I wasn't read my Miranda rights, and I didn't voluntarily give those statements. Basically saying that she's coerced, I guess like trying to get a mistrial, get acquitted, because there have been people who literally have got acquitted because they were not read their Miranda rights, even though they did commit said crime. So I guess she was trying to like do the same thing, essentially. And then she said, look, also, the jury was not And there's like 4 things that apparently the jury was not informed about. And so apparently these are like the defense of unconsciousness, so not remembering basically if I had committed the murder or not. Amnesia, basically saying it wasn't properly explained to them. Insanity defense, which apparently she was going to try to do that next, I assume. And then also did not properly explain the sentences that you have to give her. But these are your options. Like life with parole, life without parole, I assume something like that. So in September 1987, Debra pled not guilty to second-degree murder and manslaughter. So then in February 1988, her defense lawyers basically say that, look, somebody, because apparently there was a party the night that Abby was killed. And so there was, her defense lawyers are saying, hey, maybe somebody from the party next door broke in the house and only stabbed and killed Abby. Nobody else. And so then apparently they also came to, hey, there's evidence that y'all did not bring into, the jury did not mention, and y'all are making my client look bad. And basically the evidence was this particular neighbor had an ex-husband named Russell, and there was a restraining order against Russell. There was a woman who apparently came to the house asking for Russell, even though Russell obviously doesn't live there. Apparently there was a man that was seen, like, walking around the Jenner home on the night of the murder around 11:30 p.m. So I guess April 4th. So I guess the day before. And then apparently there was a man seen at Abby's grave. Yeah, so apparently they mentioned all that. And I guess the court, it was found irrelevant for a reason. They're like, no, we have our killer. So then, of course, Debra is sentenced to life. They take the case to the Supreme Court in, not the United States, but South Dakota Supreme Court, because every state, I guess, has their own little court. In 1998, try to see if DNA evidence can get them off, but they're like, we're not testing that hair that was found in Abby's hands, even though that hair could have possibly been the killer, but they're like, we know it's your ass, so there's no need to test it. So then apparently she gets resentenced to 100 years, because apparently she finally confesses to killing Abby. And so as a part of this new plea deal, she is able to apply for parole every 8 months. So then in 2014, she's like, hey, the crime scene photos, can y'all like not show that to the parole board? Because obviously if they see that, they ain't finna let my ass out. As they shouldn't have. And so they denied that. She went to the South Dakota Supreme Court again. They also denied it. Her lawyers go to the U.S. District Supreme Court to ban the showing of the crime scene photos and any autopsy photos that obviously make you look worse than you would for killing an innocent 3-year-old girl. And then, of course, in 2021, Debra was released on parole. So like I said, she's out and alive. Unless you're watching this way in the future, she says past. But as of the recording of this video, she is still alive and with us. And she just outlived her life. So yeah, like I said, that's the case of Debra Jenner. Or Jenner. If anybody has any similar cases where like the parent obviously did it but somehow was let off, definitely let me know. That's all I have for this case. Sources down below as always. I cover fatal females 3 times a week. Subscribe for more fatal females. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion. Even though I offer all of the solutions, I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm.